Are you for AI or do you hate AI? Yes, I didn't finish my hair, leave me alone. Today's video is going to be talking about people that are pro AI versus hating AI, which is a very, very big conversation happening nowadays. Let's just get right into it. Yap session during the video. This is another one. This is another one of Nectar AR's videos, which AR. Oh my goodness, Nectar HR's videos, which I'm actually very much enjoying a lot of their content.
I think that a lot of people fear for their jobs.
I'm not sure we know exactly what it's going to do.
Are people going to lose jobs to AI? Absolutely. Is that a bad thing? No.
If AI took your job tomorrow, would you still be cheering for it?
AI is tearing the workplace apart. Some see it as the future, while others see it as its end.
For mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
To help us understand,
I think nowadays it's getting to a certain degree where I think a lot of stuff is going to be replaced. A lot of jobs are going to probably be cut off. But I think at the same time, it's probably going to open a new set of jobs as well, because it is going to be utilized, at least for a while, just purely as a tool, at least to my understanding of it so far. But at the same time, AI is rapidly advancing so much, so drastically that things could change overnight.
A lot of people say that AI is overhyped or even harmful. What has it actually done for you?
I started a company about a decade ago, and I had to raise $13 million for that company because I don't know how to code. I don't know how to develop.
I think the biggest thing is, if I had to take a wild guess right off the bat, the people that are probably going to be, anti-AI is mostly the everyday person, the people that are going to be doing a lot of the grunt work in companies, right? The stuff that is going to be replacing them, and the people that are probably going to be for AI are in significantly higher positions, usually the 1%, the people that are CEOs, the people that are managing huge media or something, like not even media, but just overall conglomerates. Because I feel like as of right now, it only really kind of benefits. I mean, it benefits everybody to a certain degree, but it especially benefits people of higher positions. And my assumption is, even though it somewhat benefits them, there are a lot of drawbacks that'll naturally happen that I feel like a lot of CEOs and people of higher positions aren't necessarily looking at, because I feel like they might be thinking, oh, retention or statistics, something along the lines of that, what's driving revenue immediately, but not necessarily thinking as much of a long-term goal. Maybe it's easier to cut costs from their position as of right now and cut positions that might not be up to par with what you want, and have something that doesn't, need to sleep, doesn't need to eat, doesn't need to take time off. At that point, it's just like, oh, this is just a useful resource. Why would I not jump into that sort of thing? So my guess is higher class is probably going to be more pro AI. But it would be interesting to see if they have like people within lower and middle class also agreeing.
Look, so I had to go hire a big team to make that happen. About 7 months ago, I started a new company. This time I did it by myself, right? I was able to use vibe coding and use ChatGPT and Grok and all kinds of other tools to actually build working software that has now generated a huge amount of income over the last years.
I mean, as a woman in the workforce, any leveling of the playing field I can use is a win for me. So for me, it's advanced my career significantly faster than it could have if I had just waited my turn. Have you seen it be harmful?
When Midjourney kind of first came on the scene, it felt like it kind of happened overnight. It was an interesting feeling, experience to see my name pop up on prompts and realize that my work was being used in this model, and recognizing that it was done without my consent.
Along with that, I feel like it really, really fucking hurts artists. Like, really. There needs to be some sort of ruling of some sort. I don't know. There needs to be some sort of laws put in place, because I feel like the biggest worry about AI right now is it's completely uncontained. It's the Wild West right now, similar to how the Wild West of the internet was way back then. But it's like another Wild West where there's all this free range to do absolutely anything and everything that you want, and no restrictions whatsoever, which is leaving a very, very dangerous environment for misinformation, which is leaving a bad environment for copyright infringement, hurting people, and just wiping jobs overall. I think it's interesting at the fact that like AI is a useful tool, yes, but under the right circumstances, under the right rulings and stuff like that. And I feel like it's hard to establish rulings or laws on the internet as much as, you can obviously do that, but it's just like hard to crack down on that sort of thing as of right now. Because even now I'm seeing a lot of artists and artist friends saying like, hey, I'm getting screwed over at my job because of AI, or people find it easier to just cut corners with AI.
their consent to use my work, and that they were making money off of the images that I had worked a lifetime to develop the skills and abilities to do that.
I think that a lot of people,
and it's only getting better to a point where like you almost can't even tell anymore. And we always hear the sentence like AI is the worst right now that it's ever gonna be. And still at its worst right now, well, not at its worst, but like look at how quickly everybody uses that Will Smith eating spaghetti video as an example, but just how quickly things have advanced in the last 2 years. What is it going to look like in 10 years, right? To the point where now we're starting to see Sora 2 and all these other AI apps. People in my age group, people younger than me that should be able to be quote unquote tech savvy are like, oh, I'm going to get scammed when I'm older. This is almost a guarantee now because half of this shit does look like convincing. There's still a little bit of the uncanny valley, but it's slowly getting smaller and smaller to recognize.
fear for their jobs.
At the state, we're thinking a lot about
Directed
how do you reskill people? How do you help people get to a place where they're positioned to be benefited?
Interesting. Sorry, going back real quick because I was going to say chief AI officer
for their
and
jobs.
At the state, we're thinking a lot about how do you reskill people? How do you help people get to a place where they're positioned to be benefited rather than hurt by the tech?
There's a lot of valuable things in the world that aren't technology, meaning AI is most impacting knowledge type work, but there's things like your electrician, your plumber, people building things in the physical world. If your job's getting displaced in ways you don't like, maybe you consider different, vocation or a different way of, earning a living. And that's painful. But I think the worst thing people can do is act like it's not going to impact them if it is. And I think
though he's kind of wrong with that because he's saying like, oh, look for the more traditional or like physical jobs, like look towards more physical labor as opposed to stuff online. But I don't think that that's safe from AI. Look at how a lot of factories were back in the day and how we've now automated a bunch of things. I feel like AI is another printing press situation where it's like a huge panic in terms of where the job market's going to go. And then eventually we adapt to whatever it is now. But I feel like he's wrong about saying look more towards the physical jobs like an electrician and all that sort of stuff, because a lot of the processes that we've had back with physical jobs have now been automated with machines. And now we're giving the machines a way to be able to process information in real time and act upon it. Like look at the, what is it called? That robot that is just like meant to do house chores as of right now. And I know it's like up for pre-orders and a lot of the tech demos were like people actually controlling it through AR tech, but like still the idea that automation isn't just going to stick to your computer and is eventually going to be able to do physical things is not that far off. So it's like there is an understandable worry and you can't kind of just brush it off as like, well, we'll just move to physical labor because that's also being taken care of too. Like all jobs in this instance are kind of in jeopardy of some sort of massive change.
Almost everyone's going to be impacted in some way. All right, Zach, and that's painful, but I think the worst thing people can do is act like it's not going to impact them if it is. And I think almost everyone's going to be impacted in some way. All right,
okay,
Zach.
Okay, yeah, I was off about that. I should have just let him finish because he did say everybody would be impacted in some way.
Like when AI makes a mistake that costs someone their livelihood, who should be held responsible?
The philosophy that Utah's taken is that the deployer of the AI is generically responsible for what the AI does. Right. So if I use an AI tool and use it to go, I don't know, hack all your stuff and expose personal details online, like I'm on the hook because I made the AI do it. Now what complicates that is of course that no one can steer the AI perfectly and no one can predict perfectly what it's going to do. And so we're going to have to come up with good rules for these situations.
In general, technology companies get a much bigger pass than they probably should in the name of progress. We tend to be protectionist of these big companies, and part of it is the money they have and the people that they can, basically the force that they can bring to bear on legislatures. But at the same time, we can't dismiss personal responsibility. Like people have to be accountable for their own actions too.
It's similar to like when, okay, maybe not exactly similar, but like in a sense when you like your child does something wrong, right? As a kid, the fault naturally is on the parent. Because I mean like even though, yes, your child is their own person capable of rational thinking, decision making, and like action and stuff like that, a lot of that is based on what you've taught them as a parent, right? And not to say that the relationship between a user and AI is the same as a parent and a child, but similarly, the person actually using the AI should be the one taking responsibility. That only makes sense.
What's worse for workers, losing jobs to AI or missing the opportunities it could create?
Ooh, that's a good question overall. I'm not going to lie. Losing jobs to AI or missing the opportunities it could create. I think as of right now, if you had AI all of a sudden appear 20 years ago, I would probably say losing jobs to AI. And the only reason why I say that now is because, and AI is a factor in this, but I also think just overall how opportunities, freelancing, lack of loyalty, and just the overall, what's the word I'm looking for? Job market is. There is not nearly as much loyalty when it comes to companies and employees. AI is a part of that, but there's also several other factors as well. So I think in part, a lot of people, me included, have become super numb to the idea of losing jobs, generally speaking. AI is just one more notch on the belt or one more contributor to that sort of thing. People have already now just been in a mindset where regardless of wherever they work, regardless of the reputation of the company, they don't expect to sow in their roots nearly as much as people did 20 years ago or so. Even 40 years ago, even longer than that. Because I feel like whenever you signed up to a company, they wanted to keep you there as long as possible, respectively so, but also you would grow with it. There would be a hell of a lot more loyalty. It would make you want to stick with the company as well because you know you're set there. It's a good position. There's a lot of benefits, especially in being there for a very long time. Overall, the job market had a lot more loyalty. Nowadays, things are either open to freelancers, cutting corners with AI, or cutting the funds of specific positions, or just doing project per project basis. There's not nearly as much loyalty as there used to be back then. So I feel like people are less worried about losing jobs. I think missing opportunities it could create now is the thing, because I feel like a lot of people have now realized, whether we like it or not, AI is just here, and there's nothing we can do about it, really. So maybe, hopefully, the benefit of the doubt is to look for the opportunities? I don't know. It should be interesting, though.
Opportunities it could create. That's a good one.
Certainly, losing the job, that's a dead end right there. So if you don't have the job itself, that's kind of a full stop, because we have to survive and put money on the table. So I don't know that I would agree that it does create opportunities that you would miss otherwise.
I would say otherwise than that, to be honest with you. And I agree with the facial expression on that. Because losing jobs does suck. And AI is making that happen faster and faster. But people have been losing jobs well before AI got heavily established. It's been an issue maybe for the last 15, 20 years, right? That loyalty has been dying down overall.
Opportunities missed because of AI. AI is going to change the world, right? Are people going to lose jobs to AI? Absolutely. Is that a bad thing? No. That's why I'm not worried about me losing my job to AI.
I wouldn't say no. Kind of sucks, but yeah.
AI. Because if AI can replace my job, it means I wasn't really focused exactly in the right place. Paralegals are probably going to lose their job because AI can do it way faster, or at the very least, where you used to have 20 paralegals, now you only have 2. Is that bad for paralegals? I don't think so. I think that paralegals are just going to have to say, okay, looks like I need to learn more, I need to work harder, and I need to put more value. I need to be able to put more value out there into the world so that I can't be replaced, right? I don't think AI will replace humanity, right? It's just going to replace tasks.
I think there is an area for AI to be able to replace mundane tasks and stuff like that. And naturally, that's maybe a benefit. So then people can spend their time maybe doing a little more efficient things, at least for their work or their job or their career line, or even passions, who knows? But it really depends on the career, because a part of me is like, there is some value maybe in a little bit of the monotonous, right? But there is also a little bit of value in terms of having something completely automated for you. It's kind of similar to how whenever people meme about their CEOs not knowing how to open like an Excel sheet, and that's like super basic for some people, weird because I'm just like, not every single person needs to be in a similar position as a CEO where it's just like, let's throw all the mundane tasks. Because I mean, some people genuinely prefer to do that. Some people are built significantly better to be able to handle the mundane, monotonous tasks, right? It's like different factors for everybody that there's so much to consider. I see where he's coming from with that, but a part of me is like, I don't know. I don't know.
If AI took your job tomorrow, would you still be cheering for it?
Absolutely, I would.
No.
I would not.
Do I think?
I think AI is beneficial, all that sort of stuff. I'm not even cheering for it with my job. But like, I'm not cheering for it. I just realize that there's no stopping it. So it's like, all right. And I think a lot of people are in that position as well, where they're just like, hey, AI sucks. It's probably going to take over my job, or it's probably going to ruin this company or do whatever. But I realize that although that is unfortunate, I need to work on how to utilize this tool so I can stay ahead of the game. Realistically so. Because I think as lovely as like AI is making things simpler and taking care of the mundane, I think we tend to go in cycles. So we're going to end up, going so far with AI that we, utilize it on everything, automate everything, and then at some point there'll be like a missing gap where we kind of loop back into more in-person reliability because we realize, okay, this can't actually do everything, right? Or there doesn't necessarily feel like there's any soul behind this work, or there's going to be a lot of missing gaps that AI is going to leave, no matter how advanced it is, that is going to require some sort of human influence. And then we're going to end up looping back in terms of like, oh, okay, shit. It turns out we actually do need people. I think a lot of companies, maybe not even a lot of companies, but a lot of people right now, although they don't like the idea of AI, have already subscribed to the idea of whatever I do, it's going to take over. I just need to adapt to it. That's currently the camp that I'm in.
AI will take my job? No.
If AI is taking my job, it means that was inevitable. That was going to happen tomorrow, or it's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years.
I'm waiting. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but I am hoping.
I guess I could agree with that.
Next year we have the AI director of AI policy here instead. I would say there's no path forward for humanity ever that doesn't involve damage. Like people get 100%. Hurt, bad things happen, and that's the nature of the world. And I think if we're not willing to approve of course of action until no one's going to get hurt, then that's just not the world we live in. I think we just have to accept that and try to mitigate the bad and amplify the good.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm very resilient. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find the opportunity. There's always opportunity, right?
I could agree with that. I just worry that he's coming from a perspective where he's just like, hey, just because I'm like this, a lot of people are also going to be like this. And although a lot of people are also going to be like that, not everybody, not the majority of people are going to be like that. How many people are entrepreneurs in comparison to the population of the world? It's hard to be able to like factor in what would be good or beneficial for all of humanity just coming purely from yours or a very, very small minority of people's perspectives. I think he's right in saying that, but I think he's being a little inconsiderate of how things will go for everybody. The guy who said this is going to hurt people regardless, realistically so, and progress does not happen without pain, I guess you could say, I think he's right about that. And he realizes it and has come to terms with it. But a part of me is just like, with this dude, I don't know.
Same question was asked, during the Industrial Revolution, right? Hey, what are we going to do now that factories can do this stuff? People figure it out, right? Now, I would argue that AI, the change of AI, because it can think for itself, it can do recursive self-improvement, it can get better on its own. Yeah. I think that AI is more impactful and maybe more strenuous on the fabric of society. Humans are incredibly resilient. And I think ultimately AI will lead us to accomplishing more as a whole.
I think AI...
my only question is, I agree with that, but my only question is, where does the line go? Because I feel like as much of a progression as we talk about AI being, and maybe they'll talk about it later in this video, we consistently just ignore the environment. like the use and the cost of AI as of right now is already doing significant damage to the environment, and at some point is going to be completely irreparable damage. I mean, if it's not already at that point, let's be real here. But the thing is, the usage for AI is only going to skyrocket more and more the more common it becomes. we're getting to a point where it's just like, sure, the ideal might not be to replace humans, but if it's just like we're doing irreparable damage to the environment that's keeping us alive, is that just natural selection at this point? Like, where are we going with this?
AI gives us the opportunity to become irreplaceable and to make us essential workers.
From CEOs, from directors of studios, their plan isn't to hire more. The plan is to be able to utilize AI to do things cheaper. So I hope that your future is secure and that AI won't impact it. But I would worry that the people creating those opportunities may not have that same mindset.
If AI took my
I think with that, though, it isn't going to be a secure future, at least not for now. When it comes to like progress and development and change, everything is uncertain, right? Because we don't even know where the direction of AI is going generally, too. We're finding all these uses for it, but it's just like, what is the goal? Is it going to be, well, I mean, I guess the goal is just convenience and making everything easier and cheaper, but like during that process, things will not be secure naturally.
Job, where it was very difficult for me to work as a technologist. I think that would mean some pretty profound things for society, and we probably let it get a little out of hand.
So Kurt, what's the virtue of holding technology back?
A joke that I've had for a long time is that if I could uninvent two technologies, the first one would be the atom bomb.
True.
And then the second one would be social media. I think both of those have had heavily destructive, though different effects on the world. So, when you get...
As much as I love the idea and my job being in social media is so not for everybody. It's even just corrupted the idea of like self-value to an analytic, which is very unfortunate. And I've been subjected to this and still, with the natural exposure of my jobs, have to constantly fight to be out of that mindset in terms of just like valuing myself based on a number on social media. I think especially when something that we do seems to get a lot of approval, seems to get a lot of reception overall, then I feel like it starts to kind of screw with our heads a little bit, just because we have this intrinsic thought or this new thought in our head in terms of just like, oh, well, now that this is something received well and gotten a lot of attention, I need to keep up with that sort of thing naturally, right? And people find themselves almost trapped in a way where they're constantly having to outperform themselves. But the reality of life is, it's just like, life is such a roller coaster. Sure, you have the highs and then you have the lows and then you have the even higher highs and then you have the lower lows and then you have the highs that are not as high as the other ones. That's just life. But when it's actually physically put on a screen and given somewhat of a rating based on other people's receptions of it, it kind of screws with our heads, because we're constantly thinking, oh, even if one thing I did was amazing or I put more effort into this sort of thing, because it wasn't positively received nearly as well as like a previous thing, we tend to like beat ourselves up, even if that thing is objectively seen as better, or not even seen as better, but just is objectively better. It puts us in such a weird rat race against ourselves. I don't know. As much as I love social media, it has given us the freedom to be able to connect with other people across the world instantly. It's given us the freedom to be able to create cool jobs that are like honestly just such a sick opportunity. But it does obviously have its red flags or its poisons or whatever you want to call it.
Technology that has the impact to humanity to the level of those kinds of things, we have to take the lessons that we've learned and apply them. And that means you got to have some guardrails. And we have almost every tech that's been sufficiently disruptive has guardrails on it for a good reason. And I think that AI has not penetrated our society yet for us to understand the depth and breadth of its impact. This is not just a new tech. This is like tech that affects everybody everywhere. It's in my career, this has the potential for the biggest level of disruption that I've ever seen.
Absolutely. I think
Warning,
so.
Kurt, I'm kind of ugly, so.
Me too.
You guys aren't ugly.
What's up?
It's good to meet you face to face, not just voice to voice.
Yeah, it's been a fun.
I'm actually intrigued as to why, like a part of me was just like, why do they do the back-to-back thing? But I guess in a sense, it keeps people free of judgment, right? You don't necessarily have the prying eyes of a person that obviously opposes your views and maybe pressuring you or making you feel some sort of way, to the point where you have to skew your words in order to maybe fit whatever the facial expressions are. Who knows? I think it's a cool concept, and I was wondering why, but then I guess I kind of just answered my own question there.
Conversation.
Hello, Holly.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Zach, great discussion.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I think the coolest part about this conversation is you were speaking from your specific background and I'm speaking about my specific desires for the future.
I appreciate your insights. You clearly have a lot of background with AI, and I speak from my very specific background in art, and my concerns come from that background. But I also hold great hope for what AI may bring to the future. Thank you, Holly.
Yeah, it was awesome to meet you.
Great.
Yeah.
I think everybody can realistically just like...
It's all right, I'll just attribute this to your dream.
Shut the fuck up, Kevin Spacey. I think everybody can realistically acknowledge the benefit that AI is going to bring towards us and the possibilities in the future that it might obtain. But at the same time, I also think people just don't think what is going to happen tomorrow, right? What's going to happen within the next month. The effects that it can have on our daily lives right now. But that was a sick video. I feel like it brings up a cool discussion. Anyways, thanks for watching. Leave.